What was the reason why you went to jail?
Yeah. So I blew the whistle on the CIA's torture program in 2007. Patently illegal, besides being immoral and unethical. I went public, blew the whistle on it. I so enraged the CIA's leadership that they reported me to the FBI for revealing classified information. This was December of 2007. The FBI investigated me until December of 2008. And then they concluded I had not committed a crime. They closed the case. 3 weeks later, Barack Obama becomes president. John and I have always hated each other. John Brennan becomes the Deputy National Security Advisor for counterterrorism, later CIA director. John asks the Justice Department to secretly reopen the case against me. And so they investigated me for 3 more years. I had no idea.
But wait, the case was closed though.
It was closed.
So double jeopardy?
No, because I was never charged. If I had been charged and then they elected to not prosecute, that would have been double jeopardy. So I had no idea. My phones were tapped. My emails were being intercepted. Teams of FBI agents are following me everywhere I was going, into church, into my kids' school to drop them off, Target, restaurants with my family. We always had teams of FBI agents on us that we never paid attention to. And then they charged me with 5 felonies in January of 2012, including 3 counts of espionage. I hadn't committed espionage, of course.
What's the definition of espionage?
It's very simple. It's providing national defense information to any person not entitled to receive it.
So how was that espionage?
Exactly. How was that espionage? I went on ABC News. I said the CIA is torturing its prisoners. Oh, espionage. That's not fucking espionage.
Unless it's not CIA agents who are torturing, it's somebody else who's torturing, and
right.
You're giving intel out.
But you would think that the definition of espionage that we all know, providing classified information to a foreign government, that's espionage.
What Biden did with Ukraine and China is espionage, no? Allegedly. Providing.
Thank God you said allegedly.
You could make that argument. But anyway, what they did is they waited until I went bankrupt. Before we started filming, we were having a conversation about legal fees. And I ran up about $1.25 million in legal fees. I went bankrupt. And then they dropped all the espionage charges. So they said, well, take a guilty plea to a lesser offense and we'll just close the case. So I decided not to. I decided to turn it down. And they finally gave me what they called their best and final offer. They were trying to get me to accept 45 years in prison. I said, I'm not going to do 45 minutes. I'm going to fight you to the bitter end. And then they came down to 10, and then to 8, and then to 5. And my lead attorney said, I've been an attorney in Washington for 52 years, and I've never seen them come down in time. I said, why are they coming down? He said, well, usually they'll offer you 10, and if you say no, the next offer is 15, and then 20. So I said, why are they coming down? He said, because they have a shit case and they know it's shit, and that's why we're going to trial. Well, I believed him. We're going to trial. We're going to fight this thing. So they make a best and final offer, 2.5 years. I do 23 months.
From 20 to 2.5.
From 45 to 2.5.
So from 45 to 2.5 years.
And I said, no, I'm not doing it. I said, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm going to fight you. So I emailed the lawyer 6:00 in the morning. I said, I've been up all night with my wife. We're talking about, what we should do. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm going to trial. And one of the attorneys says, put on a pot of coffee. We're on our way over. So they get to my house 7:00 in the morning. And the one that was an attorney for 52 years, he was the first one through the door. And he says, you stupid son of a bitch, take the deal. I said, you're the one who told me not to take the deal. He said, I only said that to keep your morale up. So the other ones, there were 4 lead attorneys. I had 11 attorneys altogether. This was a major national security case. Like every time there was a development, it'd be on the front page of the Washington Post, the front page of the New York Times. People are writing editorials about it. So the second lawyer, who was a real Southern gentleman, beautifully dressed all the time, just a lovely guy. he says to me, look, if you were my brother, I would beg you to take this deal. Just take the deal. And I said, but I didn't do anything wrong. And I have 5 kids. I can't just like go to prison just like that and just walk away from everybody and let them fend for themselves. And then the third attorney pulls me aside, and he was a little bit angry. And I actually liked and respected him the most. And he said, you know what your problem is? Your problem is you think this is about justice, and it's not about justice. It's about mitigating damage. Take the deal. So I said, well, if I don't take the deal and I'm found guilty, what am I realistically looking at? And they said 12 to 18 years. Take the deal. So I took it. And I say all the time, there's this ongoing joke. Everybody knows this joke that, oh, you go to prison, everybody's innocent. Yeah, you know what? A lot of people are innocent. But the government does this thing. They do 2 things, strategies. One's called charge stacking, where let's say you actually did something, right? They won't charge you just with one thing. They'll charge you with 20 felonies. And they'll wait until you go bankrupt. And then they say, all right, we'll dismiss 19 of them if you take a guilty plea. Well, maybe you actually didn't do it, but you're looking at 100 years in prison. And you know the old saying that a jury will convict a bologna sandwich if the bologna sandwich is on trial, right? People say all the time, well, if they were innocent, the cops wouldn't have arrested them in the first place. That's not the system we have. The system that we have is that you're innocent until proven guilty.
Correct.
Not when you're facing the government.
Not when you're facing the government. And that is why the government wins 98.2% of their cases.
Because
you can't afford to fight the government.
No,
That's the difference.
you can't.
it's not, that's true, but it's not only that. For example, in healthcare, you work with the government, right? If you're being paid by Medicare, Medicaid, whoever, technically you work for the government.
Sure.
Not
You're like a contractor.
Exactly. Yeah. And their approach, and I've asked them this. I've asked several people who work for CMS. I said, so we as providers of Medicare are guilty until proven innocent?
Absolutely.
They're like, unfortunately,
that's what it comes down to.
I said, how? I thought we're innocent until proven guilty. But with anything related to government, you're not.
I had this judge in my case too, this little tiny midget. She's like 4'10", and she was a Clinton appointee.
Mm.
And my attorneys, here's how good my attorneys were. They negotiated something called an 11C1C plea, which means it's written in stone and the judge can't change it. So I agreed to plead guilty. The government agreed to 30 months. I do 23, 11C1C. The judge, when I went to my sentencing, she said, I've been a judge for years, and I have never seen an 11C1C plea. This is my first one, she says. And she looks at me and she says, I don't like it, and I don't like it one bit. I wish I could give you 10 years, she says. Well, the truth is, she could have. All she had to do was say, no, I don't respect the 11C1C plea. Go back to the negotiating table. Come up with something else. That's all she had to say. But every national security journalist in America was in the courtroom that day to see what I was going to get. And so she had to make it look like she was tough and she was going to stand up. Okay, that was October of 2012.
Did you enjoy that clip? Click over here to watch the full episode and click over here to subscribe to the WiseNuts podcast YouTube channel.